Maka udah siap, yang bisa masuk mana sih gak kuat sinyalnya, mau apa itu kemarin lu waktu juga nggak bisa di zoom lagi tidak bisa malah berarti masuk kamu nggak bisa gak kuat sinyalnya itu. Udah siap, yang bisa masuk mana sih gak kuat sinyalnya, mau apa itu kemarin lu waktu juga nggak bisa di zoom lagi tidak bisa malah berarti masuk kamu nggak bisa. Gak kuat sinyalnya itu.
Tapi kan mana ya?
Belum dibalas sama cara.
Kok ini loh mbak, nggak semudah itu ya bagaimana ini?
Oke.
Masuk hari loh, HPmu ya?
Bu Arina, Pak, tolong di ACC Bu Arina.
Mana? Nggak ada.
Belum ada, Mbak. Coba lagi, coba. Coba Pak. Belum ada, Pak.
Share ke nomormu di nomormu dia.
Oh iya. Gimana Mbak? Belum ada bermasuk.
Iya, HPmu kok gorengnya tau cah ganteng.
Bulannya gimana?
Dia dulu neng dulu tahap sebelah sana. Kok HP? Loh, mikro teaching toh, tahu mikro teaching sampingnya sana, pojok samping. Soalnya tuh.
Oke. Iya Mbak. Aku ini Oke Mbak, siap. Terus pokok ditunggu. Belum masuk ya? Oke, belum masuk Ki. Belum masuk Mbak. Belum. Kurang masak yuk. Belum. Oh, belum ada. Oh, belum ada Mbak ya. Iki ya. Oke, tunggu. Iki. Iku lewat gimana ya, gimana? Oke, Mbak. Bentar. Oke. Nanti kalau ya udah. Di mana, Mbak? Siapa? Tak kirim ke siapa iki? Ayo email siapa iki? Ayo. Email HMPS sana berani kono. HMPS. Bentar yo. Enggak ada. Ayo Mbak, ketikan aku. Liatin anu nih. Wah, HMPS sih, Mbak. Ayo. Ya, ini Okta udah tapi gak ada dari sana. Kayak tadi. Iya, tayo. Iya, tidak ada. Iya.
How is it going?
Trouble.
Trouble, is it? You haven't managed. Oh.
Bisa? Bisa Arvin?
Bentar Pak.
Mulai, Pak.
Coba kabari, bisa nggak? Kapan aku dimulai? Umam, bisa dengar suaraku? Mam, di huruf nih sih. Bisa mulai apa enggak streamingnya?
Bentar
Halo?
Pak, nanti dulu Pak.
Bisa.
Bisa didengar. Masuk suaranya.
Sip. Oke, saya buka ya. Mute ya, Mam? Saya mute ya. Umam saya mute ya. Halo, Mam.
Ya.
Udah mulai? Tampilan YouTube-nya aku. Di sini. Halo, Mam? Mam? Bisa, Mam?
Ya ini lagi, bentar lagi Pak.
Kalau sudah, kasih aba-aba. Kita sudah mulai. Sudah sangat telat sekali.
Ini Paltono. Gunakan kembali setelan.
Oke.
Mulai ya. Belum Pak, bentar lagi ini Pak, masih masuk ke streamnya.
Lama nggak? Lama nggak? Berapa menit?
2 menit, 2 menit. 2 menit.
Udah bisa? Imam? Ya, Mam. Oke, Mam? Come on. Saya tahu, belum.
Start.
Oke? Mam? Siap?
Oke. Siap.
Bisa?
Langsung aja Pak. Langsung aja.
Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih atas perhatian teman-teman sekalian, penonton setia pada acara webinar BKPI hari ini. Ini langsung saya ambil alih. Saya mohon maaf atas nama panitia karena kita telah molor sekali. Kenapa? Karena ada kesalahan teknis yang sangat mendasar, yakni terhubungnya dari Inggris ke kita. Tadi ada kesalahan komunikasi di sana. Kemudian yang kedua adalah dari streaming ke YouTube-nya. Saya berharap Bapak Ibu sekalian tetap bisa menikmati ini. Pada jam 4 ini kita akan langsung mulai. Kita akan langsung mulai. materi kita pada sore hari ini tanpa banyak bicara lagi. Okay. Hey guys, good afternoon in Indonesia time, and then good morning in England time. Miss Lidi, thank you for being here this afternoon. Today we are pleased to welcome Miss Hatna Lidi, a special guest from Surrey, England. Miss Lidi is a woman who concerned about the play therapy. She has been certified by the Play Therapy United Kingdom, or PDUK, and Play Therapy International. And then they graduated from the Leeds Packet University, England. Then she passionate about the children education, empowering women and helping people, which is so good. And sociologist since 2010. And she, as the volunteer in Asia, she visits some of the country like India, Indonesia, and we meet together on there. So this is a very good time for us for communication again there.
Yeah.
And today, she will be sharing with us about the play therapy, including the introduction and development in the practices in the pandemic. With that, I ask that you give your full attention to Miss Lidi and help me in welcoming her to the virtual stage. All right? Okay, let's get started. Miss Lidi, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Oh, good afternoon, everyone. I'm not sure. In here, we have, I think, 5 hours behind you, but I will start it. How much time do I have, as Mr. Azmi?
For about 30 and until 45 minutes.
So still got 45 minutes.
Yeah, still 45 minutes.
All right. So I would like to, I'm not sure if you can see my PowerPoint.
Okay. I will share screen. Wait. Okay. Can you see it? Okay.
Do you want me to share my PowerPoint, my screen?
No, I already shared your the screen
Okay.
share.
No, right. So I can't see my PowerPoint, but I'm just going to start talking about what I think it's important in play therapy. How did I end up studying play therapy? But first of all, I kind of want to lead you as I was led to play therapy. And what is play therapy, first of all? I would like to quote one of my kindest play therapist, who is Gary Landreth. He said toys are the children's world and play is their language. In this quote, I feel that everything is included, because I'm pretty sure you've already seen children playing. If you give them anything, they start playing with it. So this is how they start developing and exploring their world. So I would like to start telling you my experience, how I started seeing children playing. Back in 2008, I was a nursery school teacher, and one day I noticed one of my little boy starting playing quite violently. And I was just observing him. What was he doing? And he said to his little friend that he must go and kill the chicken. And in his play, it was a lot of anger and a lot of violence. So I went to the director of the nursery and asked the background of the child, and he said he's been coming from a really poor family, first of all, but the family structure is kind of really bad because the dad is abusing the mom. And what I saw in his play was abuse. So he reflected his throughout his play what he saw, because for him it was a trauma to see killing an animal and thank you and then beating his mom. So he started strangling his little friend, which wasn't right. So that was the first thing to me was something, oh, is something wrong? So for him it was a trauma, and this is how he reflected. And that's why I really love this quote of play, that toys is our children's world and play is their language. So he wanted to explain for himself what is going on in his world. So I would like to kind of talk about the what is play therapy. It is kind of a Can you hear me? I cannot hear anyone else, but I'm just gonna carry on because I don't know.
Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay, now it's fine. All right, so I'm gonna continue with I'm on the fourth slide. If you can follow me,
Okay.
I'm on the fourth.
Or you want to share screen by yourself because or it's okay if you want to share screen by yourself or me to follow you.
I'm not sure how do they see me, or because if I'm gonna share my screen, they won't be able to see me.
Okay, I will follow you. Okay, go ahead, Lily.
All right, so one more further down, yeah, one more slide. Yeah, so I'd like to talk about the introduction of what is play therapy. It is a kind of counseling and psychotherapy which uses children to explore their world, especially children to prevent or resolve psychical challenges. Why do we say is that a child is natural medium to learn, to communicate, or to explore their world? Is because that is the first thing. What this is how they explore their world. This is how they start developing. So that's why we say it's natural medium. And it is also really important for them to kind of feel safe and trusting in to kind of work in a trusting and safe environment. Shall we go further down? So what is play therapy? is through therapeutic play, children learn to cope, to communicate with others, explore feelings. Sometimes when you see children playing, they only want it for themselves. So they express their feelings of, it's just mine. I don't want to share with anyone. It is just mine. Modify behavior, which will help to modify their behavior, develop problem-solving skills, learn variety of ways to relating to others and master therapeutic experience like physical, emotional, or neglect, even bullying. I'm not sure if you understand bullying. It's kind of a different type of abuse. Their act of our or expresses their unconscious feelings. So whatever is inside them, they that's what they bring into the therapy room to resolve their own problems, learn about themselves and their relationships between the world and themselves. So a little bit of history, shall we go further? A little bit of history of about play therapy. In an early 1900, Melanie Klein and Anna Freud included play into their therapeutic psychotherapy. So what does it mean? Before, they just they only talked about it. They couldn't actualize it. So play helps them to kind of show the way, because when my clients comes to the therapy room, they always pick up those things what calls them. So if someone is angry, then they might pick up a weapon or started playing rustling, or if someone is too shy, they it happens that a client came into my therapy room and for 50 minutes she wouldn't talk. That's what she needed. This was her own time, because think about it, when you have a really hectic family, you and you're a little girl or boy, and you only want quiet and a safe environment, but instead it's always fighting, it's always chaos, and there isn't a time when you can just slow down and have your own time. So this little girl came to my therapy room, and she wouldn't talk for the beginning, at the beginning, but then she would just stay in a corner and would not say a word. And to be able to feel safe in that therapy room, she when she saw I'm not pushing her to talk about anything, I'm not pushing her to do something, so she started to open up. And at the end of probably I was working with her 12 or 13 weeks, and by the end of it she was talking to me. She started sharing her feelings about her family life back home, that she hates when her father shouts at her mom. So it is working really beautifully. You just need to be patient, and you need to focus on the client, on a child, what is really important for them. That's why it's always it's child-centered. So back to the history of play therapy, how did it started? So Klein, after Anna Freud passed away, and he carried on, and also Carl Rogers picked up on this work, what they did before, and he established a model, a new model of psychotherapy, which is a client-centered. That's what I was just telling you, that The therapist doesn't say what the client should do or should not do. It always centers the client, the child, what is important for them. And one of the most important one is the relationship between the therapist and the client, based on genuineness, acceptance, and trust. So when a client comes into the therapy room, the therapist doesn't kind of get over it. Or, okay, this and this and this and this and this we need to do. It goes with the client's speed. If the client is too slow to kind of pick up on a safetiness of the therapy room, the therapist just waits there and slowly will come to the core of the problem. So shall we move on to the next slide, which is the seventh. The seventh. So in PT UK, we do accept Exceline's principles, which is she's established in 1971. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
No, it's
Okay.
the connection is really good. So I was talking about Exceline, who helped us to develop the non-directive play therapy in 1971. I'm going to talk about Exceline a little bit more, but what I just kind of wanted to pick up on her words as well, what she was saying, that no one ever knows as much about the human being in a world as the individual himself. Responsible freedom grows and develops from inside the person. I absolutely love this sentence because it is the core of the play therapy. No one ever knows better what is good for yourself. My clients knows this as well, and they kind of brings it to the therapy room, and the therapist is all we need to do as a therapist to kind of pick up on this and believe that the child is able to solve their own problem. All we need to do is just hold them to go through this hard time. And so it is non-verbal, primarily a non-verbal approach. What is the age? Who can come? The youngest person who can come to play therapies must be a 3-year-old. Imagine a 3-year-old feeling traumatic. It is a sad way of helping them, but it is the earliest we could help them. So we mostly work with from 3-year-old up to 12 to 15-year-old ones. But whereas, for example, the cognitive and developmental delay may participate in play therapy, or an older cognitional age. So the time of session is from 30 minutes up to 50 minutes, but it varies. It varies of the issue of the child comes with. Sometimes is mild, sometimes is serious. So the mild cases we have is some comes up to from 6 sessions to 12 sessions, and the really serious ones goes from 1 to 2 years. So, for example, 40 to 80 sessions. How do we know? Shall we go to the 9th slide? How do we know what is the questions what we ask first? Why? Who is it? How do we? How could we help them? When could we help them? And what to do? So why is it? Because it's proven effective tools. It is working. It's a long process, but it's working. Who are they? As I said, it's from age of 3. How do we measure it? How do we know that child has trauma? Because they might not talk about it. So we have a form called SDQ form, which is the Strength and Difficulty Questionnaire. And that is, that's how we measure, because it has 25 different indicators which allow us to observe different issues. Shall we go? What might play therapy be employed? So it's behavioral problems, communication problems, separation or divorced parents, autistic spectrum, underperforming, so academically or social. They might not be able to learn the timetables. They might not be able to make new friends, social, cultural, or physical performing. They might not be able to play a different kind of play what everyone else plays. And there are some children who are struggling with this one. There are behavioral problem or bereavement or loss. Some children are too redrawn to be able to cope in the society. There are traumas or abuse, nightmares, delayed development, social exclusion or bullying or bullier. So some children are the bullier. They're always fighting with someone, or some children are always get something. They always, someone is bullying them. So these are the children who are we working with. Shall we move on? What are the goals for the play therapy? It helps to develop a more positive self-concept. It helps to experience a feeling of control, become sensitive to process of coping, develop an internal source of evaluation, and engage a self-determined discussion making. So these are the goals what we could work on, but there are so many others because everyone is individual. Everyone comes with their own problem. So it can vary so many ways. So shall we move on? Oops, I lost it. Yeah. The benefits of play therapy is proven similarity and differences in the play. So at the beginning of the play therapy, probably a child would come in and destroy almost all the toys because it's such an anger in it. And by the end of it, it divines how can he play with different toys. It brings about relaxation. It helps to kind of feel more relaxed and more acceptant towards their problem, their issues in life. helps feel secure, release tension. So when they come into the therapy room, sometimes there was a little boy in probably or at the beginning of the year, because then pandemic came. At the beginning of the year, I had a little boy who had such an anger in himself. So he came in, I had a drum, and for 50 minutes, he was just drumming loud as he could. So the releasing tension, this is how he could cope with. And for 50 minutes, this is what we did. We just drummed and drummed for probably 4 or 5 sessions, because this is how much anger he had within himself. He could express his feelings so well, as you might hear, that that's what he could do, nothing else, because whenever he picked up any other toys, he broke them. So he couldn't have anything to relate to. All he wanted to do, just destroy everything, because he was so angry towards the world he was living. It also helps to develop positive attitude towards others. So, for example, if there is a bullier or bullying, in the therapy room, we could work on to kind of have a more positive attitude towards others. And outlets to creative ideas of interest. So this is when they find themselves they can do other things more than just destroying the toys. So let's see, what are the stages? Shall we move on? Let's see, what are the stages of theoretical basics of play therapy? So the first stage is the actualization, when they come into the therapy room and they have no idea what they can do. All they want to do is just destroy everything, and they can't have any they haven't got any relationship with the therapist yet. The second one is when they start focusing on the therapist, that okay, she or he won't hurt me, it will understand me, what I'm saying, how I feel, and that is the second stage. And the third one is the play as a communication. So when a child realizes that the therapist isn't there to judge them, to tell them what they must do or must not, they're just there to hold them, to feel safe and secure, and sometimes they could feel the love towards them, and that is itself a powerful tool to use. And they start playing as a communication. So they start acting out what is their problem. So we do have different kind of materials we could use, and this is what they use to express their feelings. But before I go into the that stage, I would like to move to the next slide, where I could show you what is a normal. Shall we move on to the next slide? So there is a normal play, what they play outside in the garden, in a playroom, in a playground. But then is so it's just a continuum. How children play? So there's a non-directive play when they play at home, the play work, which is sometimes is nurseries or schools, because they tell them what kind of play they can play. Or there's a further one, the therapeutic play, and the play therapy is kind of the similar. And further down, it shows the continuum, the therapeutic, the severity or slightly severity of the problem. So shall we move on to the next one, where is basically, I would like to show you the strength and difficulty questionnaire, which we always use. So Roger Goodman in 1997 established this strength and difficulty questionnaire, which looks like this. And it has 25 items which defines to 5 different domains, which is emotional, conduct, hyperactivity, peer, and pro-social behavior. So what we do, we give this questionnaire to the parents, to the teachers, even to the children who would want to come to the therapy room. And this is how we measure them, the severity of the problem. Because there are the questions, what we ask has a different meaning to us, and that's how we measure. So at the end of they will get some kind of numbers, which we add up, and there is a continuum of how severe is their problem, and it is. Shall we move on to the next one? It is sometimes 74 to 83%. I think you went one further up, too far. One back, please. So the effectiveness of the therapy is, maybe one further down. The effectiveness of the therapy is quite that's fine, quite important, because it's from 74 to 83% of the children who come to play therapy has shown positive change. So how effective is, in the other way, the psychological issues, which is such as shyness, anxiety, stress, or poor communication, or behavioral problem, which is aggression or poor motor coordination, self-harming, or attention difficulties, resolving responses to family and relationship problems, which often is a problem, such as family violence, parental separation, attachment disorder, trauma, or even abuse within the family. Educational issues is such as poor organization skills. So whenever the child goes into the classroom, he's unable or she's unable to stay still, to focus on the teacher, or to understand what they say. So let's move on to the next slide. Oh, it was here. This is what I wanted to show you. The 74% and 83% of shows positive changes. Okay, so shall we move on to the next one now? So here's Exceline's principles, which I would like to show you as a non-directive play therapy. So the therapist itself is accepting, and the therapist must develop a warm and friendly relationship with the child. Otherwise, they won't start trusting you. And the therapist must accept the child as is, or he is, or she is. Establishing the feelings of permission in the therapy room and in a relationship, and then maintains a deep respect for the child's ability to solve his or her problems, and gives the child the opportunity to do so. What does it mean? It's when the child comes into the therapy room, as I said, it won't tell the therapist won't tell the child what they must do. It's just accepting that the child is able, by the end of the 12 sessions, the child is able to understand the world around them and accept it. And as Excellence says, the non-directive play therapy does not hurry the therapy along. So if they signed up for 12 sessions and it wasn't enough, it wouldn't say, okay, I did my 12 sessions, I won't see you further, because the therapist must be able to see the problem itself and continue. Shall we move on to the 8 principles, what Excellence told us to do so? So it's a warm and friendly relationship, accept as it is. I think this, we can skip this one because it's basically the same thing what I was. So let's move on to the next slide and talk about the therapy room itself. One more, please. Yep. So the necessary so that means no one should enter the room while we have the therapy sessions. Within the room, there's a wide range wide range of expressive tools and toys. Shall we move on? Then toys include craft materials, dress-ups and masks, musical instruments, as I mentioned earlier, puppets, toy animals, toy weapons, and military characters, superheroes, books, vehicles, building blocks, dollhouse and dolls, parachute, and so on. So there's such a big range of things. At the end of this slide, I mean this PowerPoint, I would like to show you a video which demonstrates how does it look like, the therapy room, or how do we actually, what do we do? I'm not sure how much time do I have as me. Then another 5 more minutes, 10, 5 more minutes. Okay. So shall we move on to the next one? Yeah, maybe shall we move on this one as well, further down, which I already talked about, the safe room, where there's just a bit more, please. I would like, yeah, this is the one, the tools. So we have art and craft, which helps the children with creativity and creativity, the creative visualization with understanding. The purpose of it is understanding and thinking. The drama is a social relationship where they can act it out. What is this, the problem? The dance and movement is the physical purpose of how they allow themselves to actually move. They have the freedom of moving. The music is the communication, which I mentioned earlier, when the little boy came in and for 50 minutes he was just drumming. That was his the type of communication with me. Puppets and masks are also carrying out of self. So puppets, it can hide behind the puppets or the masks and can become someone who is too shy to become, probably. So this is the caring of self. The storytelling is the moral and spiritual development. So it can, throughout stories, can understand or can relate to one of the characters. And also we have a sand play and a sand world, which emotional, so it can bring into the situation, and sometimes they allow the therapist to actually be present in their own emotional problems, which is really nice. So the next slide is kind of a little picture of the stages throughout the play therapy. So at the beginning, sometimes it's so chaotic, it's so they don't know where to start, so they bring everything into the sand play, and it's just there. So probably after the 7th or 8th therapy sessions, they started to kind of, as you can see, they created something. There are people, there are trees and different things. And by the end of it, sometimes it's even, it happened that it was nothing. So he managed to understand what is going on around him, which is really important. So the next stage, I kind of want to go through quicker, because it is only the stages of how do we start the play therapy. So there is an initial meeting with the parents and the child, because they should feel safe when they come into the therapy room, because they don't know the therapist, so they come with the parents to feel safe. And that's when they sign the paper. That's when they sign the fill up the SDQ forms. And then the next slide is about talking about during the play therapy sessions, what can come out, and how do we cope with it. So I would like to, once I finish, I would like to ask you to ask me what do you think, what is going on. So shall we move on to the kind of the last, the final thoughts from me, and then show the videos to everyone. Can you? So my final thoughts would be, yep. I would like to finish with this one, that I am really passionate about humanity, and especially children drives my commitment to play therapy. And through positive commitment, a connection with children, I hope to make a real difference in their lives. So I would like, if someone could show the videos, the two link. The first one would be about talking to parents and what is the real play therapy. And the second one would be an example, what is going on in a therapy room.
Okay. Can I play the video?
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you.
This?
Yes.
The joy of play therapy is that the way that children express their feelings best and explore them is through play. So I won't be expecting Jack to explain anything. He won't have to tell me in words what he's thinking or feeling. It's through the play, through the stories that he makes up, through the relationship that we build up through the play, that he can show me and demonstrate what is going on for him without having to verbalize it. What are you doing? You been the dad?
Yes.
Oh, right. And who am I?
Little daughter.
I'm your little daughter. Okay. Bad one. Right. It's a lovely mess we're making.
Oh, that's fine. Isn't it?
No, it's great fun. The only thing is you might not be able to do this anywhere else but in the playroom.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh.
So, I know. And do you remember why you're coming this evening?
can't hear you, Asmi. I can't hear you. Oh yeah, now.
Okay. Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Should I play for the next video or what?
Yeah.
Next video?
So yes, so they can understand what is going on in a therapy room.
All right.
It's just a demonstration though.
Here it is.
Mm.
Okay.
Right. So now, if you have any questions to me, I would love to hear it.
Okay. It's start to. Oh,
Can't hear you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. That's all the presentation from Didi, with your very uh, great opinion, well and clear statement about the play therapy on there. Now it's time for the Q&A, or question and answer. And we ask all of the audience to writing on the live chat. And now I will read all of the questions. We have two questions. For the first question, we coming from the Isfariza Heri from State University of Malang. Okay, she just asked about in this situation. I think the most important thing is how we to regulate or decreases our negative emotions. Many things change during the quarantines. How about the relaxation technique for the kids especially? I mean, like we know, not as the counselor, we often using the relaxation therapy for people, but special for the kids, how it can be effective enough for the how to say, like a decrease or the negative emotions.
Yeah, thanks for the question. It is really hard. So before the pandemic started in March, I had four clients I was working with, and I feel we had started a really good progress, but because we had to stop, I couldn't see them, and it is now decreased. And we would, once I'm back in school or in my therapy room, I would have to start everything again, because the relationship would it's subconscious that they don't trust the therapist anymore, because they don't understand what is pandemic. They don't understand why we stopped the therapy. It for them is like kind of another loss, because they started building up this relationship with the therapist. They started um, trusting them, and then suddenly nothing happens. So it is a big problem for as a play therapist, because we would need to start over again with probably more severe problems than before. So I'm not sure if I answered the question,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, this so okay, I get the point that I think the kids maybe didn't understand about the situation,
No.
the real situation like this. So we need to make the special approach for the child of the kids, so they can to make it some relaxation of that.
Yeah.
That is very clear. Are you ready for the second question?
Yes.
All right. The second question is just like a quiz, right? It's not a quiz.
It is.
So sorry. Okay, the second question that would be how to do the right therapy for the student who have decreased achievement. I mean,
Decreased
achievement like
achievement.
the rank system, right? For the failure of the maybe the motivation for the learning like that.
Mm. So, as I mentioned earlier, it's absolutely child-led. So we want kind of write down before we enter the therapy room. We want to write down what the child should achieve, even if, oops, oh yeah, sure. So even if you can the therapist can show a decrease on development, a decrease, still we believe that the child is able to solve their own problems. So all we need to do is just focus on them and give our attention, and that is sometimes the most effective way to help them to not to decrease but increase their the not the issues but the development what they struggling with.
Okay.
Do you,
Okay.
would you like me to explain a little bit more, or was it clear?
Okay. Maybe 1 minute. It's okay for the additional explanation.
So why is it issue?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an issue because the trust what we had before, it's suddenly gone. So it's, for example, like when for a child, if you promise something, you promise that you will be there every single time they come in, and then you're suddenly not there anymore. There is a loss of trust, and they turn away from you. They won't believe whatever you said earlier, that you will always be there for them, you will always hold them, you will hold their hands, you will understand them. But with this big gap, what is already 4 months now, it is a huge issue of building up trust again. And yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I can get the point. I think this is also very clear. But you know what? Our discussion is so amazing for us. But the time is running out.
I know. It is.
Okay. I think we got the two questions, and you just already answered really clearly. Thank you very much. So I think it's
Thank you.
I think Indonesia, we're talking about the play therapy, is the one of the branch of our science that is still developments, and the development is so massive. So many people, I mean, like the therapist, counselor, and or the helper, you say any helper profession, they need to using the play therapy to get the best approach in Indonesia. I think maybe this is the for because of the pandemic we cannot meet together. I think for the next program we can join in the another program with the similarity like this, but I think you need to come directly to go to Indonesia, and and I try to make some the workshop, okay, like a workshop so about the play therapy. That will be very interesting for us,
Yeah.
a person, or the helper and counselor in Indonesia. I think that's one of very good idea. I think
It is
this,
a really good idea.
yeah. Okay, Sweetie, thank you very much for your time, for your
Thank
energy,
you for
for your
inviting me.
explanation about the triple therapy. So appreciate for that. Thank you very much. Then how to say we can say that the play therapy is very good approach
Yes,
to
I really
understanding.
love it.
Yeah. I see for your profiles in the Facebook, on the social media, you are so passionate. I see that you very have passion about the play therapy. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for everyone
And thank you
listening
so
to
much
me and
for
your time as well.
Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry if our committee, including you, all of the audience in YouTube, I'm so sorry that our committee we're facing the technical problem on there. We are so sorry about that. But in the end of the process, we just want to share about the how to say like the developments for the play therapy in especially in the England or the United Kingdom on there, and we got a very clear how to say like the picture the picture on the coming from the England. Thank you very much, Lady.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that. Yeah. See you soon. But you want to goodbye?
Have a lovely day, everyone, or evening.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay. You can leave the meeting. Okay.
Thank you.
Oke, teman-teman sekalian, sekian dulu teman-teman sekalian, audiens yang tadi telah rela. Kita ada kesalahan teknis tadi di Inggris, terutama dari Lidi yang kemarin yang saya pikir itu menjadi sebuah evaluasi bagi kita semuanya sampai menunggu segitu lamanya. Tapi alhamdulillah beliau sudah bisa share materinya, dan saya yakin teman-teman sekalian kami semua akan share materi pada sore hari ini. Semoga itu membantu. Kami harap teman-teman sekalian tetap jangan lupa subscribe HMPS BKPI YIN Kudus. Nanti kita akan tentukan akan banyak event atau program di kemudian hari. Tentunya ini menjadi evaluasi bagi kita semuanya, bagi kami maksud saya, untuk bisa semakin lebih baik lagi ke depannya mempersiapkan menyelenggarakan acara sekelas internasional seperti ini. Well, thank you very much for your attention. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.